Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to play with some new and new to me makeup. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. So as many of you know, I now have an online beauty consulting service, which is where you get to talk to me one-on-one and you can just pick my brain about any beauty concern you have. So if you want to talk about the collection you already own, if you have questions about what eyeshadow, lipstick combinations work best for you, or if you want some advice about buying some new products, the benefit of using my service is I don't work for any brand in particular, so I will just give you my unbiased advice. So to make the appointment today, click the link in the description box down below. All right, I have all of my makeup laid out here. Let's start off with some skincare or some lip care. This is the Dior lip balm here. These are the refillable cases and I am running quite low, so I think I will just go ahead and buy the refill instead of the whole case. So for today's eyeshadow, we're going to use this beautiful, decadent, and luxurious eyeshadow palette here from Olivia Palermo. They kindly sent this to me, and we have the palette here called O'Naturel. Obviously, I was drawn to this because of this center blue shade here, but we will in fact be using the other colors today. The swatches left to right are Seashell, a matte base, Cherry Mahogany, matte, Desert Sand, satin highlight, Smoked Chestnut, matte, Caldera Blue, shimmer, and Light Fawn, shimmer. I love the case that this comes in. It reminds me of a vintage cigarette box or something. It reminds me of something Daisy Buchanan would own from The Great Gatsby. Just so decadent and vintage, and it's incredibly heavy. I know sometimes we see these like new luxury makeup brands that have a luxury price tag and a luxury name, but don't actually have luxury packaging. This is incredibly heavy, weighty, and it just looks very detailed and very intricate, so I really appreciate that. So I think I'll start off by going into the base color, the light color, and just apply that on the entire lid. All right, now I'm going into this Smoked Chestnut here. This is a matte color, and I'm going to place this in the outer corner here. And then I'm going back into my big fluffy brush. All the brushes that I'm using today are in the description box, so if you want to know what I'm using, just go ahead and check that. I'm just adding a little bit more of this color and then blending, and I think it's turning a little bit cool, which is nice because one of the top colors is more of like a reddish chestnut, but this turns a bit more cool, so it's nice to have that variety. All right, let's go into Desert Sand here, and I'm going to place this on this part of the lid. This is like a satin finish shimmer, so it's giving me, oh, it's very pretty. It's like a little bit gold, but not too intense. It's definitely a little bit warmer than the crease color here. I'm just going back into that crease shade from beforehand, just to make sure I don't erase any of the dark color here. This shade is like a light gold, light copper. It's very satiny, but it's not a chunky glitter. It's just like a beautiful satin color. And then taking whatever is left on the brush here, just sweeping it under the bottom lashes. And then using my finger, I'm going into a light fawn because this color looks so beautiful. And it also has a little bit of cool tone to it too. So just taking my finger, just going to mix this in. This satin fawn shade is very pretty. The finish is a little bit more glittery than the other color that I used. The first shimmer color is more satiny. This other one, the satin fawn, is shimmery with like a hint more glitter. There was a little bit more fallout in it, just the formulation. So just be aware of that. And I should probably move on to the other eye as well. Okay, so I know it's very shocking, but I will refrain from using the blue eyeshadow today. I know. I think it's the heat wave we're having. It's affecting my brain cells, but if you're new to my channel, I like to reuse my makeup a lot, so I will definitely use this eyeshadow palette in the near future, and I will be certain to use the blue eyeshadow. So if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend that you take the time to subscribe, and anyone who has been here for a while can go ahead and testify in the comment section that I like to reuse my makeup. So this will be a blue eyeshadow look in the near future here. Now, to finish up the eyes, I'm going to go into a couple products. I have here a NARS eyeliner. This is the high pigment longwear eyeliner in the shade Via Venetto, which is just a nice classic black. And for the mascara, I'm using the NARS Climax mascara. Fun fact, I do not like this NARS eyeliner at all. I got it as a sample in a recent purchase, and it's just almost like too creamy. Like the second you put contact onto the skin, it just sort of like melts and you get way too much. I was not really looking for such a dark raccoony under eye, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix this and clean this up a bit. Okay, so for the foundation, I have a sample pack here of the Chanel Ultra Le Teint Velvet. I think having a nice velvety, soft matte finish is a good idea for this really hot weather. So I'm going into the shade B40. So the day that I'm filming this, Chanel has dropped their Chanel No. 5 Factory. So the celebration of the 100-year anniversary, I've already placed one order, and I just got a message that a lot of things are selling out online. So if you were planning on getting anything during this like very limited release, limited edition collector's event, this is a run, don't walk situation. And now for my concealer, I'm going into my Clé de Peau in Almond. Something I just realized about my Olivia Palermo here is that this is made in Canada. How exciting is that? And just as some quick notes, the palette has 8.5 grams of product and expires within 12 months once you open it. Okay, so I think I made the raccoon liner work for me. It still is a little bit heavier than I intended, but you know, I'm making it work. I'm going in with a bit of face powder. This is my Dior Backstage powder, no powder number 3. I have owned this for a few months now and I love it. As you can see, it is very well loved, well used. This was definitely a smart purchase because I don't even think you can see any Dior logos anymore, and that isn't because the embossing was bad, it's just because I am digging into it like every single day or every other day at maximum, or at minimum I should say. This foundation is more matte, but I'm just adding a little bit of powder just to help with the longevity, and it's just so dang hot. We are having this like heat wave. I think a lot of places are, so I'm just adding extra insurance, although I don't think I'll be leaving my house today because I am in my little air-conditioned cocoon, and I might go for a walk after dinner. But I went for a couple walks yesterday. Like before noon, it was still unbearably hot, and then after dinner, still, like, you know when it's so humid and you're not even like in the sun and you're just standing there and you can just like feel yourself melting? It's too much. Now I'm going into my Gucci Beauty bronzer, and this is the shade number 3. Now I'm going into this beautiful Chanel blush in Elegance. This is a type of bronzer that almost like mixes blush and bronzer. You know, it's not too pink, it's not too orange, it's almost like your cheek color, but better. For the highlighter, I'm going into my new Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow, and this is Cosmic Rose. I'm just putting a little bit on the back of my hand here, and then adding a little bit on the high points of my cheek. Now, for the lips, I have a couple colors here from Olivia Palermo, but I also have a Sisley color that's a beautiful red. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just try on every single color here. So both of the Olivia Palermo lipsticks are matte, and the first color here is Santa Fe. There is absolutely no scent to this lipstick whatsoever, and what's really nice is this metallic click. Very satisfactory, very luxury, very extra packaging, which I enjoy, and you get the same sort of like quilted texture as the eyeshadow case. So this is Santa Fe. Santa Fe as a color reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. That's what it makes me think of, this sort of like nudie, a little bit cool tone. I think maybe a little bit too light for me at the moment, but still that like sort of nudie, your lip but better category. And this is a matte, but it feels very creamy. It doesn't feel drying. It's absolutely not waxy or thick whatsoever. It's a very pretty color. And then we also have Rosebud, which is still the same matte texture. This is also leaning a little bit more pink and cool tone on me. This gives me like almost like a dusky lilac pinky color. I think if my eye look were solely cool toned and if I were a little bit less tan right now, it would look better on me. But I think that these colors are maybe not ideal for me at the moment. I think I would have to mix in liner and lip gloss just to enhance it a bit, but I think it's just a question of skin tone. But as far as the texture goes, the formula, it's very comfortable. It's matte, but it doesn't get more matte or drying than this. It feels very comfortable to wear. It's not one of those like super drying, heavy, waxy lipsticks. So it is a really nice formula. Now I have here my Sisley Phyto-Rouge lipstick in the shade Monaco, and it comes in its own little velour pouch. How extra is that? How extra is the detailing on this lipstick? It's so extra. I love the shape and the form. It's just so wonderful. What's interesting is the Olivia Palermo lipstick is much heavier than the Sisley. I think Sisley has more detailing on the actual tube itself, but as far as the packaging goes, I think Olivia Palermo is a little bit extra in the packaging. So this lip color almost matches my dress. I think the mixture of the cool and warm eyeshadow is throwing me off a little bit, but I think I like this red lip more than the nudie colors from before. I think those colors just had a little bit too much cool in them to go with this look today. But to top off our look, to finish it off, we have to go into a fragrance, and today I'm feeling very number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Chanel number 5 hair mist first because we're going to be extra. And then I'm going into my L'Eau number 5 all over body mist. You can use this on your hair if you want to, but I think this is just going to be my perfume for today. L'Eau number 5 is much lighter, more citrusy, more fresh, more zesty. I think it's a perfect scent for summer, especially this all over body spray because it's so refreshing and cooling when you apply it. It can be a pick-me-up, touch-up scent, or it could just be your scent for the whole day. This is it for today's makeup look. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly had fun playing with some new and new to me makeup. Everything except for this NARS eyeliner. It's almost too buttery, too creamy. Like you put the least amount of pressure and you get way too much product. So I don't think this is for me. But everything else that I played with, the Chanel blush, love the color. It really is that like perfect blend between a blush and a bronzer that just gives you your cheek but better. And I really like this Olivia Palermo eyeshadow here. So I will use the blue shadow very soon. And I really cannot press upon you enough the packaging. It's so luxurious because, as I mentioned earlier, there are brands that come out these days that claim to be luxury, but then you buy it and the packaging is like, not so much. This is very hefty. It reminds me of Westman Atelier, like that level of packaging where it's very heavy, it's very luxurious, and it's almost like Westman Atelier and Gucci as far as like the vintage vibe of Gucci and the extra and the gold. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this here. I like the eyeshadow more than the lipsticks. I think it's just a question of skin tones. I forgot to mention that the Sisley lipstick here is just a classic bullet satin formula. It's not supposed to be matte, so this is the finish and texture here. And I have been wearing it off camera, and it is very long wearing. If you eat and drink, you may want to touch up, but overall, it really stays in place, and it's also really comfortable. It's really buttery and also quite hydrating. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? What other looks or tutorials do you want to see next? What other products do you want me to try on and show and play with you guys here on camera? Sound off down below. So I think this is it for today. This is all I have. I thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day. Stay cool, stay safe, stay inside with air conditioning, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.